All I wanted was to throw my son a birthday party. What I got instead was an ultimatum from my own mother: either cancel the party or be cut off from the family. That was the moment I realized they didn't see my son's joy as something to celebrate. They saw it as a threat. I didn't just say no. I walked away from a lifetime of guilt, control, and emotional debt. And I finally said yes to peace. But just when I thought we were free, they came back. Watch until the end. Because what I did next didn't just protect my son. It rewrote the rules for everything. I was only supposed to borrow a folding table. Leo had been counting down to his 10th birthday for months, ever since he saw a build-your-own Sunday bar video on YouTube. I told him we'd make it happen. Nothing big, just his friends, a little courtyard outside our apartment, balloons, and more sprinkles than scents. I'm a locksmith, not a party planner, but I've fixed busted deadbolts with fewer tools than what love gives a dad. So when I pulled up to my mom's house to ask for the folding table she usually lends us for holidays, I didn't expect a conversation that would end the entire ledger of my family. Mom met me at the door with that look she gets. Polite, rehearsed, as if everything she's about to say is for my own good. She didn't even let me get to the part about the table. "I heard you're planning a party for Leo," she said. Arms crossed. I smiled. "Yeah, just something small in the courtyard." She sighed, like I had disappointed the entire lineage. "Nick, you know how Andrew's kids feel about stuff like this? They get really left out." I didn't answer. My brother Andrew has 3 kids. And yes, they get left out. Whenever the spotlight's not engineered directly at them, they're used to centerpieces, Pinterest boards, and $500 cakes with edible gold. But that's not Leo's world, and I've never tried to make it ours. Then she said it. "If you're going to have a party, I think it's only fair that you make it a joint one, for all the grandkids." I blinked. "You want me to fold Leo's birthday into theirs?" "It's not folding," she said. "It's unity. It's family. And frankly, if you insist on going solo with this, I don't think we can support it. You're creating division." That was the moment. The moment I realized this wasn't about a party. It never had been. Growing up, Andrew got the applause and I got the chores. When he wrecked his car, I was the one who helped fix it. When he got promoted, we threw a party. When I got married, we had pizza and paper plates. I told myself it didn't matter. I was the quiet one, the dependable one, the one who didn't make things complicated. But now they were saying my son's joy was a threat. "I'm not canceling his party," I said, flat. She frowned. "Then we won't be attending, and we won't support you throwing it. You'll have to find another table." I stood there for a moment, breathing through the anger that rose like heat behind my eyes. Not surprised. Just done. "Okay," I said, stepping back. "He turns 10 once, and we're done begging for permission." I turned, walked to my car, and left empty-handed. But for the first time in years, I didn't feel empty. I didn't sleep much that night. Not because I doubted the choice, but because once you finally see the pattern, it's impossible to unsee it. I lay there next to Anna, staring at the ceiling, tallying up the years like notches on a locksmith's key. Every favor, every sacrifice, every silent moment I swallowed for the sake of keeping the peace. Turns out peace is just what they call it when you give in. Andrew was always the star. He got the new bike while I inherited the one with the crooked handlebars. He got the room with the bigger window, the louder cheers, the softer consequences. And I was the one who knew how to change a tire, unclog a drain, fix a fence. I became useful, not lovable, reliable, not radiant. The birthday party from last year still haunts me. Mom insisted it be a grandkid celebration. 1 cake, 1 song, and somehow 3 names crammed into a single banner. Leo stood there in his paper crown, barely clapping while Andrew's kids unwrapped double the gifts. By the time we got home, he was quiet in that way only kids get when they're trying to protect you. I asked if he had fun. He nodded too fast, said, "It was okay." I went to the bathroom and cried. So no, I wasn't doing that again. The morning after the folding table showdown, my phone lit up with a string of group texts. From Mom, from Jenna, Andrew's wife, from some cousins I hadn't heard from in months. "You're tearing this family apart over one day. Leo doesn't need a whole party to feel special. We're supposed to be teaching the kids about sharing, Nick." Sharing. Right. Except sharing always meant Leo shared his spotlight, and no one else ever dimmed theirs. Anna found me scrolling through them and sat beside me, handing over coffee. She didn't ask what they said. She just rubbed my shoulder and said, "We don't need them to make this day great." I looked at her and knew I'd married right. "I'm not backing down," I said. "Not this time." We spent the next few hours picking up extra plastic chairs from a friend of mine. Leo helped tape streamers to the courtyard gate. He made a sign that read, "Welcome to the Leo party, ice cream only," with a cartoon of himself as a superhero holding a waffle cone. The texts didn't stop. The guilt came in waves, sometimes angry, sometimes syrupy sweet. Mom tried a new angle. "You don't understand how hard it's been on me, watching you pull away." As if my boundary was a betrayal. But here's what I finally understood. Their version of support was just dressed up control. Their definition of family only applied when I fell in line. I told Anna that night, "I'd rather throw Leo a happy party alone than throw a shared one surrounded by people who make him feel small." She nodded, teary-eyed. "Same goes for me." That was the night we stopped negotiating for scraps of joy. The morning of Leo's party, the air felt lighter than it had in weeks. Nothing fancy, just folding chairs, string lights borrowed from our neighbor Mr. Patel, and a homemade banner strung across the courtyard gate. Anna and I had stayed up late twisting balloons into lopsided animals and prepping toppings for the Sunday bar. We were exhausted, but happy. Leo was vibrating with excitement, darting between tables, adjusting paper cones and napkins like a tiny event planner. "Dad, I think we need more gummy worms in the candy bowl," he said, eyes wide. I saluted him. "Captain, I'm on it." The first guests arrived around noon. Just a few kids from his class, a couple parents we'd grown close to. Laughter filled the space as they chased each other around the courtyard. It wasn't extravagant, but it was ours. That's when I saw them, my mother, Andrew, Jenna, uninvited. They walked in like hosts, Jenna carrying a tray of cupcakes decorated in unicorn glitter and fondant roses, Andrew in sunglasses and a smug grin. My mother, stiff and overly composed, like a politician showing up to a hostile rally. Leo was scooping sprinkles when he noticed. His smile faltered for half a second. I walked toward them. "What are you doing here?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Mom gestured around like she had a clipboard. "We brought some things to help. These cupcakes will really elevate the table, and we thought it would be nice to sing for all the kids." Andrew laughed under his breath. "Looks like budget chic," he said, eyeing the folding chairs. Jenna stepped forward, her voice sugar-coated. "Nick, this can still be nice. Let's not make a scene. We're all here for Leo. And the cousins." That's when I noticed Andrew's kids hanging back, already inspecting the gift table like it was their territory. Like this party was theirs too. I stepped in front of them. "This is Leo's birthday," I said. "You're guests or you're gone." Mom's eyes flared. "Don't be ridiculous." I looked at her, then at Jenna and Andrew. "You weren't invited because you made this about your feelings, not Leo's. You told me to cancel this, and now you show up with decorations like your co-hosts?" Andrew scoffed. "You always act like a martyr. It's pathetic." I took a breath. "No. What's pathetic is showing up to a child's party uninvited to recenter yourself. Stop making my son's birthday about your kids." They stood frozen, not used to me holding the line. Mom tried again. "We're just trying to be a family." I shook my head. "Then act like one. Respect the boundary. Today is not about you." For the first time in my life, I didn't step back. I didn't fold. And maybe that stunned them more than anything. They didn't yell. They didn't cry. They just stood there, deflated, displaced, and slowly turned around. Cupcakes untouched, sunglasses still on. As they walked away, Leo ran up to me, eyes wide. "Are they mad?" I crouched down and smiled. "Maybe, but you're happy, right?" He nodded. "Yeah, really happy." "Then that's all that matters." He threw his arms around me, tight and warm. And just like that, the gate closed behind them, literally and symbolically, and the party carried on. That night, when the last guest left and the courtyard sat quiet again, Leo was curled up on the couch with chocolate on his chin, holding a half-deflated balloon like it was a trophy. Anna and I just sat there for a while, watching him sleep, not talking, just feeling the weight of what we'd done. Not a victory exactly, but something close, like breaking the surface after swimming too deep for too long. We didn't say much while we cleaned up. A few crumpled paper plates, melted ice cream in cups we'd forgotten to toss. But every scrape of a chair back, every wiped-down table felt like clearing away more than party debris. It felt like closing a chapter. Anna was the first to say it. "I don't want to do this anymore." I looked at her. The parties? She shook her head. The proximity, the apologizing, the walking on eggshells, the hoping they'll be decent this time. I let the words sit. We'd always lived close to my mom, 5 blocks walking distance, because that's what was expected. Help with babysitting, family dinners, being available. That's what they called it. But what it really meant was being accessible to criticism, guilt, and last-minute favors. So I said it. "Let's go." Like, really go. She looked at me, hopeful but cautious. "You serious? Let's pack what matters and leave the rest. We'll find something small, somewhere new." We didn't run. We didn't storm out. We just moved on. We checked into a cheap motel that night with 2 bags, 1 cake box, and Leo snoring softly in the back seat. The motel was cramped and smelled faintly of old carpet, but it felt cleaner than the house I grew up in, cleaner emotionally. Over the next few weeks, we found a small apartment above a barber shop on the other side of town. It wasn't glamorous. The stairs creaked, the walls were thin, but it was ours. We repainted the kitchen. Leo picked a bright yellow for his room that didn't match anything but made him grin. Anna hung a sign above the door. No shoes, no shame, no shrugs. We started fresh. No unannounced drop-ins, no guilt-tripped holidays, no social contracts we didn't sign. Of course, the silence didn't last long. Mom sent a message 3 days after we moved. "I hope this tantrum is worth losing your family." Jenna posted a picture of her kids at the zoo with the caption, "Some families don't need attention to know they're loved." Andrew texted, "Running away doesn't make you noble, it makes you weak." I didn't respond. I didn't even feel tempted. I just saved the messages in a folder called Receipts, just in case. We got takeout that night and ate on the floor. Leo made a toast with orange soda. To our family, just us, but enough. I choked on my food and laughed. We didn't have much, but we had air, we had space, we had peace. And for the first time, Leo's smile didn't shrink when the world walked in. It expanded. The messages didn't stop. They just changed form. At first, it was guilt, then shame. Eventually, it became something colder, more strategic. Mom left voicemails every Sunday, like clockwork. I started calling them weather reports. One week, it was sobbing. The next, calm and patronizing. Then came anger. It was like watching a broken barometer. Nothing matched reality, but it always warned of a storm. I stopped picking up. Anna blocked numbers. Leo didn't ask about them. Then, one Monday, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address, just my name in Mom's careful cursive. Inside was a handwritten list, neatly itemized. Things you owe us over the years. It started with diapers, formula, groceries from when I was in college. School shoes she never asked to be paid back for. Birthday gifts she claimed were above the expected amount. A $300 loan I never remembered receiving. At the bottom, it read, "If you refuse to be part of this family, you should at least repay what you've taken." I laughed out loud. Not because it was funny, but because for the first time, I saw it clearly. This was the real currency of our relationship. Debt, not love. Conditional kindness, tallied in silence. Anna saw the letter, read it slowly, then looked at me and said, "She thinks support is a ledger." That night I went into my work files and updated my locksmith business website. I raised my rates by 20%. I added a new policy. All family requests billed at standard rates, no exceptions. The next time Andrew texted, needing help replacing the deadbolt at his cabin, I sent him a quote. Itemized, professional. His reply, "Seriously? After everything we've done for you?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Screenshots started piling up. Jenna posted passive-aggressive Bible quotes. Mom wrote a Facebook post so vague it was practically smoke. Some sons forget who held them first. But the more they tried to reel me back in with shame, the more I felt how far I'd come. Leo started sleeping better. No nightmares, no stress chewing at his nails. Anna began painting again, something she gave up when we used to host forced family dinners every other week. I started running in the mornings. Nothing major, just enough to remind my body it was mine. We began to know each other in new ways, not as parents surviving, but as people finally breathing. A month later, I got another message from Mom. "You'll regret this when she leaves you." That one almost got to me. Almost. But instead of replying, I printed it out, folded it, and slid it into an old ledger notebook I used to track lock jobs back when I worked for cash. I wrote one word next to it in red ink. Nope. That was the final receipt I needed. Because they don't get to assign me value anymore. I do. Leo turned 11 in April. Same courtyard, same Sunday bar, same paper banner. This time painted with bolder strokes and glitter glue. He wore a t-shirt that read, "CEO of Ice Cream," and greeted each friend like they were arriving at a red carpet event. We kept it small again. Just the people who made him feel seen, a couple neighbors, 3 kids from his new school. Anna's co-worker brought her golden retriever, which stole the show, and for once it was enough. No competition, no comparisons, just joy. The afternoon sun hit just right, casting golden light through the courtyard trees. It felt like a photograph we'd never taken, the kind you keep in your chest for the days when everything feels like too much. And then they came back. Jenna showed up first, holding the hands of her 2 youngest kids, who looked confused but excited. No call, no warning, just waltzed in like nothing had ever happened. Anna met her at the edge of the courtyard. Jenna smiled politely. "We just wanted to drop off gifts. Figured it's time we moved on." Before Anna could say anything, Mom walked in next, purse clutched like a prop. Her face was twisted into a blend of practiced grace and passive disapproval. Andrew arrived last, like the boss of a poorly cast sitcom, sunglasses on, jaw clenched, like he had unfinished business. They stood just inside the courtyard entrance, watching the party like they were judging a restaurant they didn't want to be caught dead eating at. Andrew crossed his arms. "So this is the great exile?" Anna stood up straighter. I walked over, slow and steady. He didn't wait. "You owe Mom an apology," he said. "You humiliated her last year. You've poisoned this family." Behind me, the kids were still playing. Leo was mid-giggle with a mouth full of marshmallows. I turned slightly to check his face. He hadn't seen them yet. "Good." Mom sighed. "We're not here to argue, Nicholas. We just think it's time for healing." But there was no apology in her voice, just performance. Jenna chimed in, smile tight. "Let's not make this another statement. The kids are watching. I nodded. Exactly. I walked a little closer, just enough so they'd have to look me in the eye. If you're here to celebrate Leo, you can leave the drama at the gate, I said. No speeches, no guilt, no side comments, just joy. Andrew scoffed. You don't get to control the narrative. No, I said calmly, but I do get to protect my son. I turned toward Leo, who had now spotted the gathering crowd. His eyes darted to mine, unsure. I gave him a thumbs up. He smiled, and just like that, went back to building his whipped cream mountain. Then I looked back at Andrew. You want me to model respect for the kids? I said quietly. Then watch closely. This, right here, is what a boundary looks like. He opened his mouth, but I didn't wait. You're not welcome here today. Not with that energy. For a long second, nobody moved. Then Jenna muttered something under her breath, turned, and walked away. Andrew stood his ground until Mom tugged his sleeve. One by one, they left. Again. Only this time, I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt clean. Leo came over a few minutes later, sticky and beaming. Was that Uncle Andrew? Yeah, I said. Did he bring a gift? I smiled. Nope, but we've got sprinkles. He laughed. Good enough. And just like that, the storm passed. The music played. The sun dipped low, and joy held the line. Life didn't suddenly get easier, but it got clearer. After that second birthday standoff, the messages trickled down to a dull murmur. A text here, a tagged memory post there. Vague invitations to put things behind us, followed by yet another demand dressed as a favor. Andrew reached out a month later with a job request. Hey, I need help installing cameras at my new place. Should only take you a couple hours. No apology, no acknowledgement, just the assumption that I was still the family locksmith, the fixer, the fallback. I replied with 2 words, I'm booked. And it wasn't a lie. I was booked, with my own life, with teaching Leo how to ride a bigger bike, with late-night walks with Anna under cheap streetlights, with unclogging drains in the apartment, repainting the hallway, helping the barber downstairs with his ancient fuse box, with living, they still try. Little jabs through silence. Mom sent a birthday card with a note that read, No matter how far you run, a mother's love always follows. But love doesn't follow you only to bite your heels when you stop running. I don't reply. I don't explain. That's the thing about breaking out of a system you were born into. The people who benefited from your silence always mistake your peace for pride. They think boundaries are revenge. They don't understand that I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done renting out parts of myself to people who pay in guilt and IOUs. We've built something new, not flashy, not social media perfect, but real. Leo's learning to cook. Anna sells hand-painted greeting cards online. I take fewer after-hours jobs now, spend more time home. We have a mason jar labeled Just Us on the windowsill. Every time something good happens, we write it down and drop it in. Little joys. A funny thing Leo said. A new client. A weekend with no drama. The jar's getting full. I still keep the old ledger notebook, the one with all the receipts, all the quotes and unpaid favors. But I don't open it anymore. Not out of anger. Just to remind myself how far we've come. And when Leo asks sometimes about his cousins, I tell him the truth, gently. Sometimes people confuse love with control. And when you start loving yourself, it makes them uncomfortable. He nods, like he understands more than he should. The other day, he taped a new sign on our apartment door. It said, "This home is paid for in kindness, not guilt." He spelled kindness wrong, but the message was perfect. I fix locks for a living. I know what it looks like when someone changes the key and still expects the old one to work. But the door's different now. The rules are different. There's no ledger here, no debt. Just love, earned, chosen, and free.